Hey guys, welcome to the Massive Iron Channel. I'm Steve Shaw. In this video, I'm going to show you how to program a back workout. Before I get into this topic, if you have any questions or comments, drop them down below. The best topic ideas I turn into videos just like this. All right, so this is going to be a basic overview on programming a back workout. It's not comprehensive. I can't possibly get into all the nuts and bolts and all the different variations of set and rep schemes and all that kind of good stuff. And I can't really get into how to balance full body workouts and how to balance upper lower splits and things like that. But this will be a basic primer. It will help you gain an understanding of how to program your own back workouts, and it's just kind of a foundational piece. So I hope it is able to help you in some way understand programming and how I program. Now, I'm going to look at a body part split. I'm going to look at 2 times a week, training back 2 times a week. And I'm going to look at training back 3 times a week. There's basically 3 types of movements that I focus on when it comes to back training. You have the deadlift, you have the horizontal row or pull, and you have the vertical row or pull, whatever you want to call it, a row or a pull. Now, when you're looking at upper body and the movements your upper body does, you have the bench press, which is a horizontal press. You have the overhead press, which is a vertical press, and you need to counterbalance. You need to balance these movements with a movement pattern for your back. So the vertical press, you're going to have a vertical pull, which is like pull-ups, and for the horizontal press, you're going to have an exercise that is a horizontal pull or row, which is like a barbell row, a dumbbell row. So when you're looking at back training, you have to make sure that you hit each week a deadlift or deadlift variation, a horizontal row or pull, and a vertical row or pull. This is, in my opinion, the best way to train the back. Now, when I look at training the back, there's a group of exercises that I typically focus on. This is just my opinion. This is just what I use. If you want to insert your favorite exercises, fine. I'm not proclaiming these to be the best possible exercises for everybody. It's just a good foundation, a good stable of exercises. So we have your deadlift. We have dumbbell, barbell, or T-bar rows, which is your horizontal row. We have pull-ups or lat pull-downs, which is your vertical pull or row. A lot of people can't do a lot of pull-ups, so lat pull-down is an alternative. And then those are your 3 main lifts. And after that, I typically work in either seated cable row or machine row. I really love seated cable row. You might hate them, but there's plenty of other machine row options if you don't like them. And then we have things like TRX bodyweight rows or pulls, and I have a device right across from this phone, a TRX setup. I love this exercise. I absolutely love it. I just started doing it this year, and the feel I can get on my back when I'm doing 12, 15 rep sets or even more, or rest pause work or block work, is just tremendous. So I'm in love with the TRX pull or row. You also have inverted rows, which you can do with a barbell in a rack as well. So that's a good choice. So we have 5 movements we're going to work into our split, our 2 times a week frequency, and our 3 times a week frequency. Now for a split, obviously you want to start with the big hitter. You want to start with deadlifts first. You always want to start with the most challenging exercise at the beginning of your program. So if you're doing a body part split, you're going to be doing deadlifts first. There are exceptions to this. You could do a deadlift later in this day if it is a moderate weight and not super challenging. But it's best to do deadlift when you're mentally and physically at full capacity, so you can focus on form, so you're not too tired and don't get injured or don't increase the likelihood of injury. After that, the next big hitter is going to be your dumbbell or barbell rows. Now, when it comes to my programming, I like to stick to generally 2 sets of dumbbell rows, simply because you have to do 1 set with your right arm, 1 set with your left arm, 1 set with your right arm, 1 set with your left arm. You have 4 sets, and each of these sets are very taxing. I find dumbbell rows to be one of the most taxing exercises I do on a given week. My heart rate is always elevated. I feel like I need a lot of recovery time from them. So I typically only program 2 sets of dumbbell rows, but that's just personal preference. Now, when it comes to barbell rows or T-bar rows, I've said this before, that a row can be very lower back unfriendly. So when it comes to rows, dumbbell rows, I typically like to do 10 to 15, even 20 rep sets. I like to do a little bit higher rep work rather than go low and go super heavy. Same thing for barbell rows and T-bar rows. I've done heavy barbell rows and T-bar rows over the years. I got up to 4 or 5x5 on my barbell row. And I found it's just too much on my lower back. These days, I prefer to do 225 on barbell rows for multiple sets of 10. So I like 10 rep sets on barbell rows. I don't like low rep work, and I don't recommend low rep work just because this exercise tends to be it can be very intense. It can put some strain on your lower back, so you're better off doing rep work, in my opinion, than trying to go super heavy. So we start off with the deadlift, then we do our rows. After that, we do pull-ups or lat pull-downs. Now, if you can't do pull-ups, lat pull-downs or assisted pull-ups are a great choice. Now, those are our three staples. Those are our three must-haves in our back workout. From there, it really comes down to what you want to do. I usually do seated cable rows. Sometimes I do machine rows, but I really like seated cable rows. And then I do like a finisher of TRX. I just try to get to 50 reps as quickly as possible. It's like a sprint. I do 50 reps and rest as needed. So that's kind of how you can structure a body part split. After these first three movements, you don't need to do extra work, but that is optional. But there are ways to structure in 5 exercises where you aren't living in the gym on a body part split. And again, it's beyond the scope of this video to talk about the endless number of ways you can structure this to keep your time in gym reasonable. Now we're going to move on to 2 times a week back training. We're going to take the same exercises and we're going to break them up. Now again, you can move these around a little bit. If you only want to do 2 exercises a day, you might want to do more. You might prefer to do more sets of deadlifts, more sets of T-bar rows, and only do 2 exercises per day. That's fine. Just keep a reasonable back volume each week. Now, day 1, you might do something like deadlifts, dumbbell rows, and then lat pull downs. So we have our deadlift, we have our horizontal row or pull, and we have our vertical row or pull. On day 2, we're doing T-bar rows, which is a horizontal row or pull. TRX pull-ups, which isn't specifically a vertical row or pull, but it's close to it. It's kind of a tweener or odd exercise. And then I have seated cable rows. So you could also do regular pull-ups, assisted pull-ups, inverted rows. It doesn't really matter. So that's how you can structure a 2 time a week back workout. Now I'm going to move on to a full body workout, and we have 3 training days each week. I like to put deadlifts in the middle training day when I structure a full body workout. And the reason is I typically have squats here and on Monday or whatever day 1 is. And on the last workout of the week, I usually either have leg presses, front squats, or even a 20 rep set of squats. So I like to do 2 squatting type of days or 2 really heavy leg type of days. And in the middle, because a deadlift is a posterior chain movement just like squats, I like to sandwich that in the middle, so I'm not doing squats or deadlifts on the same day or front squats and deadlifts on the same day. So that's kind of why I put deadlifts in the middle. So day 1 would be some kind of a row, dumbbell rows, and then TRX pull-ups or assisted pull-ups. Day 2, deadlifts, because deadlifts are pretty taxing. In the context of a full body workout, I want to put a back exercise that's not as physically challenging generally. And by that I mean dumbbell rows are pretty physically challenging for me. So because you're doing a whole full body workout, I want something that's just a little less challenging but still getting in my back work. So I put pull-ups in. Day 3 of a full body workout, barbell rows, T-bar rows, and maybe seated cable rows. You could drop seated cable rows and you could put in assisted pull-ups or whatever you want. But that's kind of the way I structure things. In a full body workout, you really have to be aware of your overall daily volume, and you're going to have to move things around, sets and reps and block sets and all kinds of things to get things to fit in where you want it to. So there you have it. That is how to structure a back workout, whether you want to do a split, train it 2 times a week or 3 times a week. The big thing to remember when you're looking at overall volume of sets is that the overall volume of sets should be the same no matter how many times you train a week. So if you aim for 12, 13, 14 sets a week on a split, 12 to 13 to 14 sets on a split, you're going to try to get the same amount of work whether you train it 2 times a week or 3 times a week. You're just going to break it up in those workouts. So guys, hope this video has been of some help. If you have any questions or comments, drop them below. If you made it this far in this video and have yet to subscribe to my channel, please do. I'd appreciate the support. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Have a great day.